Yeah, hi peeps, it's Tersse back on the old squat box once again, and the American elections, this is the big day of voting. If you can get in the front of the line to get your vote in. Apparently what America has been going through at the moment is basically voter obstruction by the GOP, you know, the right wing nutters in your country. And you also, that's a problem, I suppose, you know, trying to disenfranchise vast amounts of people in your country. That's a problem for America, you know. But you also have several other problems. One of the major problems you have is in America is you no longer have true journalism. You have commentators, you pundits and commentators who come on, and the shows that used to be news and journalistic, news breaking shows have now come down to being pundit and commentating shows. That's basically what they are. You've lost the art of journalism in America, and therefore you've developed a new name for true journalists, and they're called fact checkers. So now you have some really strong, perfectly good journalists becoming nothing but fact checkers and trying to point out the inadequacies of your media in America. The media in America has failed to be what it was set up to be: journalists, holding politicians' feet to the fire, you know, questioning them on what are blatantly obvious lies that they have spouted about their counterparts. That kind of journalism is gone in America, and now it comes down to fact checking later. The main media in America does none of that. Everything is balanced as far as they're concerned. Oh, this guy said that guy said this. Who's to know who's telling the truth? Well, the fact checkers certainly know who's telling the truth, and they will fucking tell you who's telling the truth. Unfortunately, the fact checkers are then decried as, you know, working for the other side. You know, it's all political. You know what I mean? It's, you know, they're biased. You know, it's the biased media. You know, it's not the fucking biased media. The biased media are the pricks who sit there saying everything is balanced. That's biased because it's blatantly fucking obvious that they can't both be fucking right. You know. If somebody says one thing about a thing and somebody says another thing about a thing that's just completely the opposite, both can't be fucking right, you know what I mean? One person must be telling the truth, one person must be telling a fucking bunch of lies. You've failed to have that in America anymore, except for some little blogs here and there and the occasional person who writes an op-ed, you know. Apart from that, or people who run a web fucking fact-checking fucking machine, journalism in America is dead. It's gone the way of fucking, you know, what do you call it? The Gong Show. You know, this is the sort of media, news media you've got in America. It's the Gong fucking show. You know what I mean? You've got 30 seconds to say something, you know, insanely crazy that will amuse our fucking watchers, and then it's time for an advert, or it's time to cut to some inane fucking interview with some politician telling us more lies that we can get a bong out of. You know what I mean? That's basically the American media at the moment. And these are supposed to be political news shows, you know what I mean? These are supposed to be the shows that bring you the truth. And what they bring you is gong fucking shows. You know? 30 seconds of gong! Next! You know, that's it in America. And you call yourselves the most democratic country in the world, which is bollocks. When you see what's happening in Florida and Ohio at the moment, you are not a democratic nation. This is the shit you see going on in Iran. This is what the right-wing GOP fundamentalist fucktards are going to bring to America. They're going to turn you into a theocracy. You know what I mean? It will be a Christian theocracy, but they still want to fucking cut people's heads and hands off. They still want to stone people to death, you know. They still want to kill people for thinking different from them. That's what theocracies do. That's what we keep saying Iran does to their populace. And that's what America's turning out to be. That's what the GOP are trying to drive America to. A theocracy where You either believe in the God that they believe in, you either believe the idiotic facts that they believe in, which aren't facts at all. You know what I mean? Silly stories made up 2,000 years ago. That's what you're going to live your life by today. That's what they want to change. Yeah, they want real change. They want to take you back 2,000 fucking years. You know what I mean? To the real truth of the creation of the world, God controlling everything, and everybody understanding what God wants through the voice of some prick in a church. And if they happen to be, you know, your president as well as the leader of a church, well, so much the better for the theocrats. That's where America's going, man. Down the path of fucking Iran. I mean, I don't think Obama is the greatest politician in the world. I don't think he's the greatest Democrat in the world. I don't think he's the greatest person in the world, but he's at least not a theocrat. He is at least trying to stand up for the values and the understanding that, you know, democracy means that you might not always like what the other person is saying, but they have the right to say it. Whereas the theocrats on the GOP side want to shut you up. They want to stop you from saying anything that goes against what they believe and what they say, even to the pain of death for you, because you dared to speak out against their ideas. And they would bring back just what they have in Iran. You speak out against their God, they want to give you the death penalty for it. They've said so, several of them. Just look at what the GOP say as their platform, you know, in Texas. Yeah, they want to go back to being able to say you have blasphemed and you should be punished by the law. Yeah, the law of Leviticus. Look it up, folks. It's in the fucking Bible. How much you should pay for a fucking slave. The punishment for unruly children. Death. The punishment for, you know, decrying, speaking out against God. Death. You know what I mean? Basically, the punishment for anything they see is against God. Death. You know what I mean? That's where you're going in America if you follow the GOP. But I know you're not going to vote for Mitt Romney. Even though he's tried to lie himself into, you know, the office of president, he hasn't got there. And I'm hoping that a lot of people in these states like Florida and Ohio will remember the next time the governors in those states and the people who are holding office in charge of elections, and you know where the election boxes go, how many days you're allowed to fucking vote, you know, early voting. When these people come up for re-election, I hope the people in Florida and Ohio remember the fucking shit they pulled on you and how many hours you had to fucking stand in a street corner waiting to go and give your vote because of those pricks. And you turn around and tell them to fuck off. You know what I mean? I've got other people on another call. I don't know if you can hear that, but I've got to break this off and go and play some Warzy. Thank you, motherfuckers, and cheers, Obama. Congratulations for winning the second term in office in America. Thank you, fucking var.